conscious. Get back in the game.
Oh, nice play, Rucker. That's some of the finest driving I've ever seen. Right there until the end. Hit the light pack.
It did, Sergeant.
Irish, the worst thing we can do in a situation like this is panic.
You talk like that, man. You scare the crap out of me. Hey, Pack, help me move this seat, man. We're still sinking. Shit. I'll get you out of here, Doug. You hear me?
How, man? The doors are stuck shut.
Shit!
This wasn't how it was supposed to happen, Irish. Wrecker, take my gun.
The fuck are you thinking,
Yours
Doug?
now.
The fuck are you thinking?
For the wolf to survive, it's got to chew off its own leg.
Fire! Negative, don't do it!
Now, Wrecker, shoot out the window.
It's an order! Don't you fucking do it, Wrecker!
Save yourselves. Get out of here. Get out of here!
Fucking bullshit, man! You hear me?
Shoot out the window or you'll all die!
What a crazy start. What a crazy start to the game, dude. So, after many moons, I decided to revisit one of my favorite childhood games that I've easily put 3,000 hours into between my Xbox One, 360, and PC over the 11 years it's been out. Battlefield 4. Now, I know you guys have probably seen, they've been releasing a lot of stuff about the new Battlefield games, and I'm hearing a lot about public test servers and wanting to stick to the community stuff, and a lot of that sounds like old school Battlefield to me, which honestly just rekindled a flame in my heart that can't be replicated. I wanted to go back to visit this game because this was my all-time favorite. I didn't play a lot of the old Battlefields. I played Bad Company 2 a little bit, and then Battlefield 3 I barely even skimmed the top of. I played the multiplayer for like 6 hours tops. So I wanted to go back to my favorite one. So to start, I wanted to go back and play the campaign instead of worrying about the multiplayer first, which I may make this a series if you guys end up liking it. The first month I had Battlefield when I was a kid, the little white Wi-Fi adapter for everyone's Xbox 360, the original one, because it couldn't connect to Wi-Fi, you had to have it through landline. I pulled it apart. So I can only play the campaign. It's a canon event that I experienced, so I've got to stick to that, right? The amount of bugs I experienced in this surprised me so much. Off the rip, I literally just couldn't adjust the FOV in this story for some reason, which was so weird to me because I didn't think that would be a setting that would be like altered or different. I don't know how to change the FOV in the story mode. Hold on. Before we even get too much further, what the hell's going on with the camera too? Maybe it's just stuck like that. I guess the settings just don't change it in that, but it confused me because I've never run into that in any other game I've ever played. If you can adjust it in the multiplayer, you can adjust it in the story. But I kept on trying for the first 30 minutes I played the game. I kept pausing in the middle of, it would be in the middle of a cutscene. I'd just pause it because I'd be like, dude, I can't. Because it made me motion. Revisiting these maps and areas and the story was so sick. Just the settings and the scenery was perfect. And a lot of these campaign missions are on the maps that we actually played in the multiplayer. So I always thought that was cool because it's a good way to recycle maps and get good maps without it being repetitive, like reusing maps from your old games every year of Modern Warfare. Even though Battlefield 4 did reuse some of the maps from Battlefield 3 and maybe Bad Company and all that in later DLCs, I'm pretty sure most, if not all, the base maps are fresh when this come out because this was like, oh my god, it took a year or two just for this game to like get out of like a pre-alpha, because I remember seeing footage when I was a little kid of it being like just a no textured map of like Shanghai. Like that's how long I've kept up with this game. The first mission sets up so much connection with the characters too. The first 20 seconds you're immediately in a car underwater with your team and you have to sacrifice a guy you don't really know yet. And you get to know him fast because it does like a little flashback, which usually I hate in games when it does flashbacks, but it kind of works here. It got me into the story really fast. And did I mention how good this game looks for being 10 years, 11 years old? Being in that car and looking at the water through it and the water pooling in, it just, I can't explain. It just brought something back to me that games, I feel like games don't try as hard on the visuals these days as they used to. They're always shooting for something cartoony and not realistic because the hyper realism of this just, oh my god, it brought something out and just in my chest. I played this on Ultra on RTX 3070 and I was streaming on 3 different platforms while I was playing it. So like, I know it couldn't have ran perfect, but it ran perfect. It looked beautiful. And I remember when this game first came out, I would literally get my breath taken away from some of this stuff. And one thing that got me is the mouth movement in the mocap is literally better than Star Wars Outlaws.
See? They don't even know we exist.
Something I forgot about in this game was tap firing is so huge in all Battlefield games, which I always loved because it gave it a sense of difference between Call of Duty and all that. Because, you know, COD, you can pretty much aim, and if you can control the recoil, just hold it down. Battlefield, the gun is wiggling with the recoil, so it makes your shot go a little off. So if you don't tap fire, it's going to be kind of inaccurate. It's going to kind of swirl in this big circle. But if you tap fire, it's going to stay streamlined right on that dot, and it's so nice. Just kind of like real life. I remember watching Jack Frags play this game growing up, and Jacksepticeye, and seeing the little magnifier and not knowing how I'd ever hit a shot with it because it was just like, man, it's on an M4. And I learned, oh, maybe don't hold the throttle all the way down.
Oh. Little snipey. Tap firing is like really big in this game. I forgot that because now we're getting way more consistent kills doing that.
As I come back and revisit, it's bringing back a lot of like memories from this game, like playing on Zavad or Operation Locker and being at like the smallest distance where it's just enough distance where it's easy to hit the shot, but you still tap fire them like once or twice and they die. Dude, it just brings back so much, especially playing like Hardcore Metro. Hardcore Metro was all. Now, I will say, one of the biggest things that actually bothered me during this game is the AI is the dumbest thing I've ever witnessed. At least my team especially. They literally can't do damage to the enemy.
Irish. The AI is ass because he won't do nothing. Hello? Look at that. He's just fucking laying into him. He's not dying.
And I complained about this so many times when I was playing it because it was pissing me off. I only died because I'm a one-man army with some meat shields that don't help me fight at all. And it just killed me because it was like, I would have enemies just run up to me. They would stand 3 feet behind me and I wouldn't know it, obviously, because I don't have eyes on the back of my head. And then Irish or Hannah, they wouldn't do anything. They just stand.
Is there more enemies down there? I'm not walking down there. They're just going to have to kill them. I have to go back down there and kill that my team can't kill for some odd reason. Like, why can't the companions do any damage? Look, just standing there shooting him.
Idiot. And even if they do shoot him, they would shoot him the entire time and they'd never kill him. And I don't know if this works, but I think if you ping them, if you're spamming your Q button on keyboard, I think they can kill him. I don't know if that worked because I never really got to try it. I was just, at that point, I was so distrustful of them. I was just shooting everything that walked. Speaking of rage-inducing, that tank mission pissed in my Wheaties bad.
Of course I fucking whiffed that because I'm not in the right camera. Here we go. Bullshit. Die, motherfucker. Can we not get DP'd by them, maybe? Ooh, I'm gonna get fucking mad. How are they not dead? I'm not even gonna try and fight them. I'm just gonna drive over to where I need to be. I do not care. It's not that deep. For it being like so revolutionary, like fucking just brilliant time. And then I flip the tank over by just ramming into it. You can't hit me. You can't hit me when I'm under you, whore.
It's not that the tank is bad, but it goes from having such a strong presence and feeling like you're OP in the tank and you're just invincible, and then all of a sudden it's made of glass. And I know the game kind of does that in order to make you progress through the story, like, oh, well, you can't have the tank anymore. You need to actually get out and use your RPG, or you can do what I did and literally ram into all the tanks around you and just drive past. But it felt really lazy to me. And this entire campaign feels kind of like that. It feels very rushed. Obviously, it's only 4 hours long, so it's not like they could do a lot in that time anyway, so I'm not really dissing them. But I just know this campaign could have been one of the greatest campaigns of all time if they would have just put a little bit more into it or added onto it later or just something. It could have been so good, and my homie Ant said that exact quote, and I didn't understand how true it was till I got to the end, and I was like, man, that's over, and it could have been, it could have had so much more. It could have had so much more. Like, especially when it says, like, in the middle of the game, it says, like, 2 days later. 2 days later. What happened in those 2 days? I want to see you, like, I want to see the guerrilla warfare you had to go through to get, like, through all that. All of a sudden, you're just in a car or driving. It's like, dude, you lost all your weapons and everything. I want to see what you had to do. And Call of Duty does that really good, is they show you the whole week. But this just felt like we missed a few days. I gotta say, I fell in love with these characters in such a short amount of time, and it was just ridiculous for me. Because I would have loved to see them add on. I know, obviously, they can't add on because Irish, or whoever mocapped for Irish and the actor that played Irish just passed away, unfortunately. So rest in peace to the homie. But I hope the next Battlefield actually has a campaign, and a good one. This made me want one because I've been just so worried about the multiplayer being good. Hell, I ain't got time to worry about the campaign. COD campaign exists and it's good, but it doesn't have the Battlefield gunplay that I actually appreciate and love. Can you imagine if Battlefield 1 had a full story? Ugh. I also wish stealth was an option in this game a little bit more. It doesn't really make any sense. As soon as you melee somebody, unless it's in the prison mission that I was mentioning earlier, you pretty much immediately get into a brawl. Shh, sleep.
Nice shot, Wrecker. Watch your cover.
What do you mean shot? Oh, I forgot this game basically doesn't have stealth.
Everybody's alerted and they just start flocking at you, dude. And that's the only gripe I have about the no stealth. And, you know, I like when FPS games have multiple approaches to missions. If I feel like being loud, I can. If I want to be quiet, I can. But again, this is from its time. It wasn't a concern back in my day. We kind of all just run and gun. That was the kind of players we all were. We didn't worry about sneak or stealth or whatever, unless we were trying to get somebody and troll them. The thing I pulled most from the replaying this game is that games can't really make any good characters anymore. I fell in love with characters like Irish and Hannah and Pac and the Russian dude I don't remember the name of within minutes of meeting them. Within minutes. I didn't need a whole lot of introduction because they had such an iconic presence. They just had a presence. And games can't do that anymore. For some reason, unless it's Fish Stick from Fortnite, games feel just so shallow now. It doesn't have any story to it. Even if the game does have a campaign, it's usually just some random loner that's exploring through by themselves. And sometimes I just want a little bit of a different. I like to be a part of a team with different characters that accent each other, different styles. Like Irish is like a hothead loudmouth, yet extremely smart and blunt with his thoughts. Like he's really emotional and intelligent.
All these people, man, they're sitting ducks. Follow us! Follow us! We'll get you to safety! Irish, what are you doing? Can't just leave me back. Follow us! We'll get you to the USS Valkyrie! You mind, Irish? Am I right by back? Follow us!
Some of these boats aren't moving though.
Safety! Come on!
Fortress, this is Tombstone. Come in, over. Fortress, this is Tombstone. Come in.
What the hell? Man, took my immersion out completely when I fall through the boat and into the water. Come on.
He thinks with his mind, but he has a really big heart. Hannah, she's kind of like a conflict of interest. She's trying to save everyone, but she's trying to do, you know, she doesn't really have any morals to not do certain things. She'll just do whatever it takes to win. And everything's so flaky with her, you really never know her true intention until the very end. Then you realize, oh, she's actually a really good person. She was just doing this for the best of us. Pac is more of like a wingman. Really didn't get a lot of screen time, so it kind of sucked. I really didn't see him that much. I would have liked to see him more. They all kind of accent each other, and it just works. And for this game being 11 years old, it blew me away with most of that. I just feel like it opens your eyes to how bad it is right now, and why every time you turn on your consoles and anything, it's just a constant wow. There's nothing I feel like playing. Because games just don't have that feeling anymore. You don't get this connection, and you don't get these cutscenes where it's like, wow, I actually know the weight of the moment I'm about to go into, you know? They just don't weigh their options as good as they used to. Speaking of the cutscenes, I don't know why the cutscenes look like they're played on the original Xbox 360, but yeah, the cutscenes look horrible. Completely random thing I just remembered, so forgive me. I kind of interrupted myself. What was I going to say? So yeah, games just don't really do that anymore. They don't set up any... They don't get my heart pumping. They just get my mind pumping. They're like, you know, they bring up politics and this war's happening out and so wherever, but I don't get to actually know this character. Or they'll reuse one from an old game that I just like, it's been 20 years since I originally played the old game, so the emotional connection is just severed for me. I gotta say, games like God of War do this really good, where it does kind of get your emotions going and you have feeling. But again, that's a completely different, I want an FPS game. I want an FPS game that's like, has any feeling to it whatsoever. If you can think of one FPS game that's come out in the recent years with a half-decent campaign, bravo to you. Modern Warfare is not it. Battlefields didn't even have a campaign. Star Wars Outlaws, which is arguably not a first-person shooter, but a shooter, Horrible. Far Cry games are kind of washed up recently, and I haven't played Far Cry 6 yet, but I'm probably going to give it a shot here in a few months. It all just feels like the repeating theme of we're just losing a lot of the emotional kind of deal inside of these games. And I hope the next Battlefield coming out really does perfect that. The bugs and glitches can be solved with this game and really can be managed.
The movement. I think this game was designed for controller because it feels so weird right now on the PC. Come on, swim forward, please, deadass. I'm just begging you. It's like, is something caught on my damn leg or something? I don't understand. Do I need to swim backwards through this shit? Maybe this game is not as flawless as I remembered back in the day. Look, it literally just like slammed me forward and it stopped on an invisible wall. I'm gonna restart at checkpoint, and if it's broken, bro, I'm gonna crash out too. Why am I going backwards?
I guess those guys are just, you know, in the air now. I feel like if you played this on a console, it would probably run a lot better than playing on a PC, because I think the PC issues that come out when it first came out still kind of have an underlying presence. The annoying gameplay at times was mostly due to a skill issue anyway, so I can't even complain about that. Between the sniping that pissed me off sometimes and stuff like that, it's really, I mean, one-man army, I should be able to do it. I got a scout elite, and I've got an M416. I should be able to take out an entire army. But the one thing you can't beat is a good story, regardless of how long it takes to beat, regardless of when it came along. You can't beat a good story, which this had. If you haven't played this story and you don't know how it ends, which I don't think I spoiled it really, it's worth 5 hours of your time. All in all, I love this game, and I feel like if you haven't played it, it's time. So let me know your thoughts. If you do go to replay it, you guys want to see me play more Battlefields and revisit them and talk about them and showcase them, leave which ones you'd like to see down below. The video's probably going to be a little long because I'm showing a lot of footage, talking a lot, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is probably one of my favorite videos I'm ever going to make, because obviously Battlefield's just one of my favorite games of all time. I grew up on this game. I spent so many hours with this game. I met so many people back in the day from this game. So it's just one of them things that I never want to get too far from. It's nice to make a video about something I really am passionate about and love, and I hope you guys like it as much as I do. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.